Copping it on the chin. But tonight, it's the Kiwis in a world of pain. How are they coping with another test flogging? Why beating the Poms can be bad for your health? And who's the Australian Swimmer of the Year? We've got the answer on Sports Tonight. Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Tim Webster. It's been a great weekend for Aussie sport and there's plenty more where that came from. We'll meet the Aussie golfer who's an inspiration to others.
There it is, right in the middle. Give me 5.
Check out some early Christmas crackers. And why are 4 Aussie tough guys going nuts in Brazil? And first, well, the champagne corks aren't popping tonight, but the bottles are on ice. Australia has all but guaranteed a series clean sweep against New Zealand. The Aussies only need another 5 wickets tomorrow to wrap up the second test.
In a match full of milestones, Justin Langer brought up 6,000 test runs.
6,000 test runs, that's a wonderful performance. Well, he's just been a run machine.
He survived a close call, the third umpire ruling in his favour. The men in the middle weren't so kind.
Down the line, up goes the finger. Yep.
Langer out for 46. Matthew Hayden took it on the chin.
We have a bit of blood, just a little nudge onto the chin, is it?
The Queenslander bloodied and soon beaten. Some slick work from Kiwi keeper Brendan McCullum had Australia 2 down at lunch. The overall lead 459. They kept the Kiwis guessing, adding a further 4 runs in 15 minutes before declaring. Hayden nursed stitches in his chin. Matthew Sinclair a damaged ego.
Oh, and a big appeal there. He's got him out LBW.
The Kiwis 1 for 11 and in even more trouble when their skipper was bowled by Glenn McGrath. Stephen Fleming out for 3, his side 2 for 18. It should have been worse. A bat pad appeal against Scott Styrus wrongly turned down.
And there may well have been an inside edge.
Yes, there was, I think.
No second chances for Mark Richardson. The Kiwis 3 for 34. The very next ball, Warne's turn to embarrass.
He's got this one, he's got him.
Styrus with plenty to say. The tourist under pressure no matter how you view the contest. Justin Langer backed up his batting brilliance in the field.
Got him! Oh, what a catch, he went again. Langer takes the gem.
New Zealand in need of more than big hitting if they're to avoid defeat.
Yeah, the Kiwis still trail by 314, but more importantly, they have just 5 wickets in hand. Australian coach John Buchanan defending his team batting on slowly with rain threatening tomorrow.
It's very difficult to plan on what the weather may be tomorrow, as I think everybody would know. So at this point in time, you know, we felt we had 140 overs to play and we've now got 90 after bowling 50 odd today in which to pick up 5 wickets. So yeah, we're quite happy with our position right at this moment.
And the Pakistan team have arrived in Perth ahead of the 3-test series against Australia next month. Star speedster Shoaib Akhtar looking forward to bowling on a whacker wicket in the first test.
I think I love being here and love playing in Australia. I think it's a gorgeous country, and I like the atmosphere at Wacker, and it's going to be good fun, I reckon.
Coach Bob Woolmer with a simple philosophy on how to beat the Aussies.
Well, we've got to score 600 and bowl the Australians out twice for less than that.
That's about it. Pakistan will begin their lengthy preparation with a tour match against the WA second 11 starting on Wednesday. Early indications suggest the Rugby League Tri-Series will be back next year in the UK in a reduced format, and coach Wayne Bennett is likely to be in charge again when the Kangaroos return to defend their title.
7 weeks with limited alcohol due to the watchful eye of coach Wayne Bennett. And finally the players were able to enjoy themselves, although not making much sense.
Hey, they're green, hey, it's blue and green.
But with a chance to finally relax after what's been a 40-week season for some, there's been a change of heart about the series. Senior members are now endorsing its continuation, but their concerns of the season being too long are being taken into consideration.
If you're a betting man, you'd say the formula's right, the way it's working, but we may play a couple more games in Australia, so the tour isn't as long.
So a reduced tour next year is on, but it's not likely to stay an annual event.
Kangaroo tours are every 4 years. I don't see that we have to play it every year, but I guess there's a school of thought over here that we should play it for the first 2 years to establish it.
With the players on side, Wayne Bennett's decision on his future is that much easier.
They're pretty good to me. They don't let me down too often, you know, and I'm not in the habit of letting them down. So, but we've just got to sort out the program and make sure everybody's across the line on it, and then we can all make some decisions.
Bennett rates the first 40 minutes when the Kangaroos obliterated Great Britain in the grand final of his career highlights. The reward for the players for winning the Tri-Series, a week in the States holidaying, combined with an exhibition match on Wednesday morning.
Triple Olympic gold medalist Jodie Henry has ended Ian Thorpe's 5-year reign as Australia's #1 swimmer. Henry took out the Australian Swimmer of the Year award at a glittering ceremony in Melbourne tonight. The 21-year-old was the star of the Athens Olympics, of course. She won 3 gold medals and cemented her spot as the nation's new Queen of Swimming. In holding out her highly profiled teammate, she became only the 3rd woman to win the award after Susie O'Neill and Hayley Lewis. A week into pre-season training in Melbourne have unveiled their prized new recruits from the recent national draft, the spotlight shining on 3 teenage demons.
Boys will be boys, and these 3 are no different. But thanks to a draft exemption, Demons fans will be able to watch them grow up on field.
We were ineligible because of a new age rule that was put in, which we, I think Dunny was out by 14 days and I was 24, and we sort of, it was so they weren't drafting kids who hadn't finished VCE, but we had finished VCE, so we sort of thought, hey, can we have a chance here?
17-year-olds Matthew Bate, Lyndon Dunn and Michael Newton are all eligible to play under-18s next year. But the 1st, 2nd and 4th youngest players in the national draft are now the hope of Melbourne's future, and a week into pre-season training.
Well, they're just easing us into the program, I suppose, coming from a TAC club to pre-season down to an AFL pre-season. It's a bit of a change, but no, it's really good just easing in, and I suppose the body will break down maybe. I don't think so. It won't break down.
Well, there's precautions against that, but it's an overwhelming time at the start of your career, and that's when your teammates' help is most appreciated.
Aaron Bruce, because he's our group leader, so he's helped me around a bit, and Nathan Brown gave me a lift to train this morning.
Keep your eye on the red and the blue.
Meanwhile, the Fremantle Dockers have also revealed their new $6 million investment. Draftees Bennett Copping and Toby Stribling introduced to their teammates this morning. The duo will begin training on Wednesday. While neither expects to play AFL footy next year, Stribling played senior footy for North Adelaide 2 seasons ago and has been compared to Byron Shammer.
Small, in and under sort of type player. Love running with the ball a bit, so yeah, you can see the similarities.
Plagued by osteitis pubis this year, Bennett Copping is also from South Australia. The 18-year-old considered a strong mark who can play at both ends of the ground.
Really starting to like centre-half back at the moment. Sort of played there for the last couple of years at school and really learning the tricks of the trade back there.
Robert Allenby will play in the Australian Masters in a couple of weeks despite shoulder problems which have plagued him throughout the year. He's taking time off to rest the injury, but Robert was still busy today raising serious money for his children's cancer charity.
Robert Allenby has made millions as one of the world's best players, and in the last 12 years his charity has raised $7 million more for Challenge, an organisation supporting cancer kids and their families, like 12-year-old Kiefer, who started playing golf only a year ago, inspired by a meeting with Allenby at Yarra Yarra.
Yeah, I really like it. So my coach, he says I'm really good, so he reckons I'm nearly ready to play tournaments and stuff.
Kiefer is clearly undaunted by his amputation. He loves rugby and was determined to putt with his hero again, despite a recent setback.
I snapped my leg.
Doing what?
Playing gridiron.
When?
Last Monday, yeah.
There it is, right in the middle. Give me 5. Alrighty.
Allenby rates his year in the US as fair after battling injuries to both his shoulders. A torn AC joint he suffered at the US Masters has flared again after a recent mishap to the other one.
That's been a little niggly, but it's much better now, but the left one hasn't been too good.
Still, he says he's in good shape to defend his Australian Masters title when he tees it up next in 2 weeks at Huntingdale.
I'd like to do what Pete's just done, win it back to back.
The Australian Open champion kept a long-standing commitment at Twin Waters on the Sunshine Coast, despite a late night after his stirring title defence.
But I got home nice and early, about 4:30 I suppose, and here I am, alive, feeling better than I was last time I came here.
Lonard will be one of the favourites to make it 3 from 3 this week at the PGA Championships at Coolum.
Only just Big Pete. This is Sports Tonight. A lot more after the break. Welcome back. After a nightmare opening to their Pura Cup title defence, Victoria admit their season is on the line on Wednesday. All-rounder Ian Harvey and fast bowler Shane Harwood are welcome additions to their team. Crucial clash against Western Australia.
Currently sitting last on the Pura Cup table, the Bushrangers' title defence is on the line this week. The Vics desperate to turn their season around after a series of embarrassing losses.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. I think we really need to get 6 points under our belt here. I mean, it could be a long season if we don't get the 6 points here.
Well, it's a very important game. I think if we can win this game, then we're certainly back in the mix.
While fast bowler Mick Lewis struggled through a fitness test on his groin and will miss again, the depleted bowling stocks are on the improve, with fellow paceman Shane Harwood returning from a torn stomach muscle.
Anyone at the moment to, you know, give the selectors another option, and, you know, looking at the wicket out there, it's going to be, again, we think fairly hard work for the fast bowlers, so they need to, you know, come up with some tricks.
After a fortnight on the sidelines with a groin injury, all-rounder Ian Harvey is back and in form after belting 63 for his club side Northcote on the weekend.
I had a good bowl this morning and, yeah, looking forward to Wednesday and probably see how it pulls up again tomorrow, have another run around tomorrow morning, and then we'll just go from there.
Jason Arnberg has also been added to the lineup after recovering from a back injury.
Meanwhile, Queensland and Tasmania shared the honours on day one of their Pura Cup match at the Gabba. Skipper Jimmy Marr set the platform for the Bulls with his first century of the season, but Tasmania mounted a fight back with a handful of late wickets. The Tigers handed Queenslander let off. They dropped Marr when he was in his 30s, but fellow opener Clinton Perrin bowled with the score on 61. Then Shane Watson and Andrew Simons lost their scalps in consecutive overs, but Marr made the most of his second life and went on with a classic captain's knock. Spectacular parade through the city CBD will be a highlight of the 10th Melbourne Formula One Grand Prix next March. As many as 8 F1 machines will take to the streets a couple of days ahead of the race. The trams will be a headache for the drivers.
The tram tracks are certainly a potential challenge, but I think if we choose the route carefully, they shouldn't be too much of a problem.
Melbourne City Council expected to rubber stamp the proposal before Christmas. Greek kickboxing star Michael Zambidis has claimed the inaugural A1 World Combat Cup at a packed Vodafone Arena last night. He defeated the local hero Gurkhan Ozcan, and earlier in the night the aptly named Headhunter lived up to the tag.
Instead of throwing combination kicking...
The Papua New Guinean caught his young Russian opponent right off guard. And a dry run of sorts for one Sydney to Hobart yacht heading to Tassie already. The crew of another challenge haven't done the race before, so this is a 628 nautical mile practice sail. Made up of uni students from Melbourne, average age of the crew is 21, and the next time they leave, it'll be for real, jostling with 123 other yachts. Trainer Lance Justice has declared Sociola the country's greatest horse over the past decade. Now that's high praise indeed, but it comes after the 8-year-old produced a Maccabi Diva-like performance for back-to-back victories in Friday night's harness racing feature, the Miracle Mile.
The accolades have continued to roll in for harness racing's excitement machine, Sociola, after the 8-year-old's courageous back-to-back Miracle Mile victory. Trainer Lance Justice still revelling in his horses' all-the-way win.
But it's Sociola kicking away. Sand Pebbles gets out from Mr. DG and Elsu. Sociola in front. Sand Pebbles trying hard, but it's back-to-back miracles for Sociola.
Greatest horse I've ever trained, greatest horse I've ever driven, and could be the greatest horse that have gone around the last 10 years in Australia anyway.
Forced to watch Soki's win from the stands after a suspension, Justice was always confident driver Jody Quinlan could do the job.
The biggest race of the year, and pretty nervous watching it, but he went sensational, Sociola, and I can't fault Jody's drive.
Like dual Melbourne Cup winner Maccabi Diva, Sociola is also South Australian owned. The horse was yesterday named Harness SA's Horse of the Year. The next target, the Victoria Cup at Moonee Valley on December the 18th.
Regardless of who Danny Green fights in his next bout, Anthony Mundine or Marcus Beyer, the hard-punching super middleweight is determined not to revisit the place his last opponent put him.
For the last 2 months, Danny Green has been haunted by the memory of being floored by little-fancied Omar Gonzalez. While he recovered to win the bout, Green has ensured he won't forget his lessons straight from the School of Hard Knocks by placing a magazine cover in a strategic position.
Front cover's me on the canvas and him standing over me after he's dropped me. It's got, you know, Danny decked.
So I bought that straight away, cut it out and put it on my fridge. So every time I go to the fridge, that's a reminder.
Green has spent hours analysing the split second that rocked his world, and he can't escape the fact he was punished for not focusing on the job at hand.
I train as hard as I've ever trained before, and my times in running were the best I've ever been. I was, Jeff and I were training very hard in the gym, and motivation and dedication as far as my diet, my training and recuperation was perfect. But I guess in the back of my mind there was just that little bit of lapse of concentration and maybe a thought of, this isn't going to be as hard as the other ones were, so therefore, I should, do it easier.
The Green Machine should soon know where and when he'll fight Germany's Marcus Bayer in a world title rematch. But he says the Gonzalez experience has brought him crashing back to earth.
I guess my pride was dented more than anything. I never ever wanted to be dropped as a fighter, and that happens. It was a shock knockdown and flash knockdown, whatever you want to call it. I was knocked down. I'm not going to make any excuses. I hit the canvas and got straight back up, and it's a lesson that hopefully I've learned from. I'm not going to make any excuses, whether I was off balance, whether this, whether that. I was on the canvas.
And still to come in sports tonight, goals galore. But what does it mean for Arsenal's Premier League campaign?
And a splendid effort! Oh, it's a winner! You couldn't write a fairy tale like that!
The amazing challenge facing 4 Aussies in Brazil.
What we've got to do as Australians is just get together, just pump each other up.
And you won't believe how much Freddie Couples won in the skins game. Premier League champions Arsenal have suffered a blow to their title defence at the hands of Liverpool. The 2-1 loss leaves them 5 points adrift of leaders Chelsea.
And this is a good spell for Liverpool.
Harry Kewell was in the thick of the action early when he forced a good save from Jens Lehmann.
Kewell, decent effort. First real save either keepers had to make.
The Aussies. As the home side began to tire, the champions pushed for the equaliser. Patrick Vieira combining brilliantly with Robert Pires to draw his side level.
And here he is, Vieira! Brilliant goal! Brilliant team effort, rounded off by the skipper.
The match decided deep into injury time when Neil Mellor found the perfect moment to score his first ever goal in the Premier League.
And a splendid effort! Oh, it's a winner by Mellor in stoppage time for Liverpool. You couldn't write a fairy tale like that, right in front of the cop.
At St James Park, Newcastle looked to be struggling early before they strung a superb exchange of passes to release Craig Bellamy.
This is nicely worked between Kluivert and Bellamy's through here, one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and yes, Newcastle are ahead, and Bellamy scores for the 3rd game in a row.
Australian midfielder Tim Cahill almost scoring with the cheeky backheel from a goal-mouth scramble.
Somehow it stays out. Cahill on the end of it.
And going close minutes later with his head.
Cahill is in there every game.
The equaliser eventually coming after the break from a well-taken free kick by Lee Carsley.
It's Carsley, and it's a goal! Oh yes, Lee Carsley with the equaliser for Everton with a peach of a free kick.
And in the other match played overnight, Tottenham ended a 6-game losing streak with a 2-0 win over a 10-man Middlesbrough. So that's only Arsenal's second defeat in 55 Premiership games, believe it or not. Leaves them chasing Chelsea, though. Manchester United now 4 points behind the Gunners. Other end of the table, West Brom take over at the bottom. Blackburn's win at the weekend moves them out of that drop zone. Real Madrid have stormed into second place in the Spanish league with a 5-0 demolition of Levante. Ronaldo scored the opener from a precision pass from David Beckham. Then Figo brought the Bernabeu crowd to its feet. Ronaldo added a second to make it 3-0 before Beckham decided to steal some of Figo's thunder. Then Beckham's England teammate Michael Owen sealed the victory. The Madrid side now trail fierce rivals Barcelona by 7 points at the top of La Liga. Australian Jason Dawes has finished 3rd at the China Open after firing a very impressive 666 in the final round in Shanghai. Now this is how you get out of the rough. One of the recoveries of the day by Thailand's Thaworn Wirachant, who fired at 6 under par thanks to some magic shot making. He almost holed out with a brilliant approach to 16 as well on his way to a final round 4 under 68. Welshman Stephen Dodd won his first European Tour title. He finished 12 under, 3 shots ahead of Thomas Bjorn. Anastasia Moschino led Russia to a Fed Cup title after she won all her matches in a 3-2 victory over France. Moschino claimed her second singles match of the tie, straight sets win over Natalie Deschy, but then watched compatriot Svetlana Kuznetsova beaten by 16-year-old Tatiana Golovin to keep France's hopes alive. Moschino teamed up with Vera Zvonareva for a decisive doubles match that starred in the first break. First set of the break, actually. The Russian pair went on to win in straight sets 7-6, 7-5 and claim Russia's first Fed Cup crown. Caps a remarkable year for Russian women. They've won 3 of the 4 Grand Slam tournaments. Well, fresh from a successful Ironman comeback, Kai Hurst is set to tackle a new challenge on Brazil's famed Copacabana beach this weekend. Hurst is part of a 4-man Australian squad competing against 79 other teams from more than 30 countries in swimming, mountain biking, speed hang gliding and sand running.
I've never been to Brazil before. I'm definitely excited in going over there and racing. It's something that I pretty much jumped at, and to be doing it in Brazil, in Rio, is something I'm truly looking forward to. And you know, we've got a good team, the Australian team, so you know, hopefully we get over there and we all race really well.
I think the overall thing to make the event hard is having 4 consistent people. Like, there's no point having the strongest one on one leg and then having someone else let you down. So I think, you know, being a team event, it's about having 4 consistently good guys.
I think that's where we're going to get the big points, is on the landing side. I like to land quite fast most of the time and skimming the ground. When you're a couple of feet off the ground doing 100 kilometres an hour, you appreciate the speed that you're doing, and it's just a bit more of adrenaline before you end up touching down the ground or smashing into the ground. Yeah, one of the two.
Being a point-to-point race and having that little bit more courage to, you know, push the limits around corners, and, you know, not knowing where you're exactly going, riding things blind. Generally, those sort of races suit me a lot more as well. So yeah, it's in my favour.
You got some of the best athletes from around the world, so I think what we've got to do as Australians is just get together, just pump each other up.
I make haste to waste the whole place and pump that face to win the rat race. And I race that face and erase the bad taste.